Mr. Ken Groff, and he is the art teacher at Cleveland Court Elementary. And you've been there how long?
Cleveland Court, 6 years, I think.
And then before that you were at Lincoln?
Lincoln Academy, and then Sykes Elementary before that.
So he's been around. Excellent, excellent art teacher. The children love him, the teachers love him, and he's here to share some expertise with us. I want to give you a copy of what I gave them,
Okay.
so that just sometime or other they may ask you about one of those.
Okay.
It's the same exact thing I sent to you in email.
Oh, okay. I jotted that down.
Okay.
I'll try to copy that for you.
All right.
Okay. And I may not go in order exactly, but we'll skip around a little bit.
That's fine.
But hi, I am Ken Groff, and I've been teaching 28 years. And just to kind of let you know, so you know where I'm coming from, I started out I went to school here in Florida Southern, and graduated from here many, many years ago. I met my wife here, and I taught 4th grade and 6th grade for 14 years. And then I went up to Polk and got my certification in art. And I've been in art now for 14 years. So it kind of gives me a good overall, picture of what goes on in the classroom, and then how art can, relate to that kind of stuff. And I've really tried, since I've been an art teacher, to really work with the teachers or reinforce what they're doing. And right now I'm in school. I'm working on my master's in theology, and I'm going to Asbury in Orlando, so I can kind of understand. I've got papers to write and all that kind of stuff, like you all do too. But appreciate Lori inviting me. She was a wonderful teacher. You guys, she's a blessing to have. We really miss her, and wish she was still there. But it's exciting. It's exciting to see her moving on. But anyway, I'm glad to be here. I'll try to help you as much as I can. And any questions you have, feel free to jump in. But one of the things I just want to start by saying is this: I really feel there's a tremendous need that we incorporate the arts into our programs, because what's happening, at least in my experience right now, is that there's beginning to be an override to the side of the brain that's dealing with mathematics and science and language because of all the testing. And that creative side, which is so important, because it's where you begin to really put everything together and actually do things with it. And it's the problem-solving aspect of it too. Art is really a lot of problem-solving. Is getting, I feel, neglected. I mean, there feels like there's such an overemphasis on all this over here that, we're not getting that well-rounded picture. And I know Einstein said after going through school, he said he was surprised that he got out of education and still had any imagination at all. And that's a shame, because our imagination is what, we use to develop and create new things, and that's what they're asking for out in business. They need people who can create things. They need people who can come up with, generate new ideas and new ways of doing things. So I feel the arts are really important for that reason, but there's another reason. The thing about the arts too is that the arts they're almost like a hook for learning to hang on. You can utilize music and songs, I'm sure he talked about that, for learning, in the same way that you use the visual arts, and the learning sticks when you use these kinds of things. I know when I go back to my kids that I've had years and years ago, they'll tell me about projects we did. They'll tell me, they remember doing, we had a big zoo one year, turned the whole classroom into a zoo, and they all brought animals, and you can't do that anymore, of course, but back in the day when I first started, you could. And they don't ever forget those things, because it becomes a hook to hang the learning on. So when you think of it in those terms in your classroom, I just hope that I can get you thinking about being as creative as you possibly can to get your content across to the kids in ways that it will stick for them. So that's one of the things I just hope that I can kind of encourage on. And it's exciting to see you guys going into education. We need good teachers, we really do. I don't know if I can say this or not, but it's a mission field. It's a mission. It's something that you've got to realize that you're going into it to help people in a way that is going to change their life. So it really is a mission field, and we really need good teachers. Okay, let me just start with the safe and developmentally appropriate materials. Okay, that would probably be a good place, kind of a basic place to start. Maybe some ideas you can use in the classroom as well. Of course, as we work through and you get materials for your classroom, you're going to want to think about their age, appropriateness. Basically, a lot of the scissors we use, these Fiskars scissors, come in the rounded ends versus you can get the pointed ends. And with my little ones, we go through a whole lesson, even though I have my kindergartners and first graders use the rounded ends, we go through practicing how to pass them with the point down. We actually spend, 15, 20 minutes for 2 weeks doing that kind of thing, going through actually physically handing pencils to one another and passing them around, because otherwise you will have kids who will, thrust a pair of scissors or a pencil. So those are kind of just simple things. A lot of the stuff that you use when you go to purchase materials, for example, I have a kiln, and we do a lot of glazing and firing, and this is a glaze, and you look for the AP approved on here for your materials, and that includes things like glues and stuff. So non-toxic, and we'll say up here non-toxic. This is really important these days. You're going to find out when you get into the school system, you have so many kids with allergies. So many kids nowadays. I was amazed at one point they passed a list from our nurse of all the kids who had some kind of, problem, physical problem. It was almost half our students. So you have to be very careful about getting approved type materials, and you'll see that when you're looking in your catalogs and things. Because we do clay, what I try to do in my mind is say, how can I still do all the things I want to do but keep it simple? So in terms of tools, we will use, for clay, plastic knives. I have my wooden tools, and we use plastic forks and these kinds of things versus an X-Acto knife like I used in college, or the wire type tools, that can poke the kids. So you try to improvise for the good stuff, and a lot of times it's just simple things that you can find in the grocery store that'll help with that. Safety for me is not a huge issue. I have not had any real, major problems in my classroom with kids getting hurt or anything. But developmentally, that aspect of this, you do want to, as you think about your kindergartners, they're going to come to you if you're dealing with kindergarten, most of them nowadays, unable to hold a pair of scissors. And so you have to developmentally start at square one. How do we hold the scissors? And you'll get the hands eventually into the right place, but you'll end up with this kind of thing where they stick the finger all the way through. And I get a lot of kids who do this. This is how they cut. And it's because of strength problems, too. They're stronger this way. So don't be surprised. You're going to have kids who won't know how to hold a pencil, a paintbrush, or any of those kinds of things. You just have to think in terms of starting at square one. Something that might be helpful to you too in your classroom is I get my smocks from the nurses up at, or I get them over at Watson Clinic South. A couple nurses down there collect them for me. And I have 2 complete sets of these, and they'll give them to you free. You just, wash them up real good, and the kids love these. Actually, it becomes a little bit of a problem because they fight over different colors, and the guys never want to wear ones that look like girls, that kind of thing. So. All right, I was going to show you one other thing on safety. Like I said, I try to go with my older kids even and push it to the highest level I can, but still keep it safe. So one year we did these, which is just taking pieces of glass and slumping them. You bring your kiln to a certain temperature and slump it. After doing that, I made the decision we would not do that anymore. Nobody got cut, nobody got hurt, but the glass that we used was approved glass and everything, but it was just a little too sharp on these edges, so we've gone to this kind of thing, still trying to produce the same kind of slumping, but these are already prepared tiles that have no sharp edges, and then sprinkling it onto tiles that don't have sharp edges. So I think the concept is try to still do what you want to do, but try to replace the things that could be dangerous with things that are, would be safer to use.
What grade level did you do the glass with?
Was that?
What grade level did you do the glass with?
Fifth grade slumped.